everyone. So welcome back to PW International Boards. I am your mathematics mentor, and in today's session we are going to learn one more important topic, that is set notation and Venn diagrams. So today is the lecture 6 where we are completing your chapter 1, that is number. So in today's session, we will also be solving the previous year questions for the same topic, which is going to help you in your upcoming exams. So just understanding what all topics we are going to cover in today's session includes, so we are going to learn about sets and further about the subsets, the universal set, set notation and the Venn diagrams. Then we are going to solve the problems that involve sets, and we will be solving the previous year questions. So firstly, let's just understand that what is actually a set. So if we talk about a set comprises a well-defined collection of objects or symbols. Whenever we are talking about a well-defined collection of, let it be any kind of numbers, any symbols, any object or anything that has something common that we can figure out. Moving further, if we talk about in the more detailed version of the definition of sets, objects within a set can vary widely, encompassing numbers, letters, shapes, names, places. It can be anything that you can write in the sets. Sorry. So it is not going to be like this that you can write only and only numbers here as it is a part of maths, but you can write anything, right? Moving further, the individual elements within a set are referred to as its elements. So whatever the number of terms, the elements that you can see, or whatever the individual elements that you can see within a set, they are known as the elements here. Okay. Talking about the list of members or elements of a set are placed inside a pair of curly brackets. So whenever we need to write a set, right, in that case we are going to write it in the curly brackets, right? So this is how you're going to make the curly brackets, right? Okay, further taking an example on this, if A is a set of prime numbers less than 10, then how are we going to write it? We will be writing it as A is equal to, we are going to write it in curly brackets. Firstly, secondly, if I talk about, we will be writing all the elements here. So talking about the prime numbers between 1 and 10, it is 2, 3, 5 and 7. So all the elements will be separated by a comma here. Moving forward, if B is a set of letters in the word book, then B is going to be written as, so in that case we are going to write it as, so what are the letters here? If we talk about the letters that we can see in the spelling of book, it is B, O and K. So these are the three letters. So these are going to be your three elements of the set B. Okay, so you are going to write it as B, O and K separated with commas. Clear? Moving, let's just understand that if a set that contains no elements, right? If there is a set that doesn't have any element, right? So in that case, that is known as an empty set, or we represent this with the symbol phi. Okay, clear? So if we talk about it, if we talk about when there isn't going to be any element, right? So there is no element here. So this is going to be represented with the symbol phi here. Clear? Moving, let's just have a question here. Right, in the following question, describe the set in words. Right, so we need to describe the set here in words. Clear? So now, if we need to describe the set here, write down the another two elements. So here, if I talk about writing all the sets in words here, so first one is Asia, Africa, Europe. So what we can observe here is the set here represents the different continents in the world. If we talk about the second one, what does it shows? 2, 4, 6, 8. So the given set shows gives you the even numbers. Third, if we talk Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the given set represents the days of a week. Further, if we talk about the fourth subpart here, which says January, March, July. So what we can observe here, these are the months that have 31 days. So this is a set that represents the months with 31 days in a year. Okay, clear? Now further, if I talk about, if we need to write down the next two elements of the given set here. So if we need to write the continents here, Asia, Africa, Europe, you can write Australia, you can write North America, you can write South America, right? You can write Antarctica. Correct? So you can write any of them that you wish to. Clear? Moving forward, 2, 4, 6, 8. Then further you can write 10, you can write 12. So these are the even numbers that we can observe. Moving further, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you can write Wednesday, you can write Thursday, right? So these are the days of the week that you can mention here. Further, January, March, July, then we have is August here, then we have is October. So you can write these months here. Clear? Now, moving to the next definition that we need to understand that what is a subset and what is a proper subset. So, these are the two different definitions that you need to understand, right? Many of the time students get confused with what is a set, what is a subset and what is a proper subset. So, I'll be just explaining you this thing entirely, that what is a subset and what is a proper subset. So, talking about firstly the subset, if all the elements of A are also present in the set B, right? Whatever the elements of A are that are present in the set B, then we say that set A is a subset of B. Now, talking about that, how we are going to represent this thing. So, if A is a subset of B, it will be written as A is a subset of B. That is how we represent it. Further, if I talk about the third point that says here, if A is a subset of B, then A is a subset of B, or A may or may not be equal to B. Understanding this thing here, that A may or may not be equal to B, there is no such compulsion that if A is a subset of B, in that case A need to be equal to B. No, there is no such compulsion here. So let's understand this thing with the help of an example. If 1, 2, 3 is a subset of 1, 2, 3, what we can see that both the sets here are equal. Further, if I talk about 1, 2, 3 is a subset of 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So what we can observe, that A is not equal to B, but A is a subset of B. Clear? So it may have exactly the same elements, or it may not have exactly the same elements. Clear? Understood? Moving forward, if I talk about what is a proper subset, a set that contains some but not all of the members of another set. So in that case, if we talk about a proper subset, in that case, the number of elements that is in the set A need to be less than the number of elements which are in the set B. Okay, so a set that contains some but not all of the members. Okay, it contains some of them, not all of them. If there are 4 members, maybe if there are 4 members in set B, maybe set A contains only 3 of them. In that case, we will say this thing, that yes, it is going to be a proper subset. Okay, so if A is a proper subset of B, we can write it as, let me just tell you how we are going to write it. Either we are going to write it A is a proper subset of B like this, or we will also say this thing, that A is not a subset of B. Or this is, if we talk about, this is the other representation of doing this. Okay, so if A is a proper subset of B, then in that case, then A is a subset of B, but A is not equal to B. In that case, A is going to be a subset of A, but it is not going to be equal to B. Clear? Further, if I talk about 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 is not a proper subset of 1, 2, 3, but 1, 2, 3 is a proper subset of 1, 2, 3, 4. As if we talk about the first condition, which says that some of the elements but not all are present in the set. Okay, so here what we can observe, that 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 are present, but 4 is an element that is not present here. Okay. Further, if we talk about set of, if we talk about one more example here, which says set of even natural numbers is a proper subset of the set of all natural numbers. Clearly, if I talk about that some of the, if we talk about some of the natural numbers, they are even numbers, but not all. Correct? So in that case, we will be excluding some of them, but yes, all even numbers, if we talk about, they are natural numbers. Understood? Moving forward, let's just consider an example here, right? Consider P whole numbers where whole numbers less than 30 list the subset Q. So we need to write down the subset Q and we need to write down the subset R here. Correct? So here if we need to write down the subset Q. So here if I talk about the subset Q, that is going to be the even numbers which are less than 30. So that is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So these are the numbers that we are going to have here, right? Further, if I talk about the second subset that we need to write is R. So if I talk about R, so that is going to be, we are going to write the odd numbers less than 30. So that means we are not going to include 30 here as well. So in the even numbers, because it was asking less than 30, so that's why we haven't included 30 here. So writing all the odd numbers here, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27 and 29. So these are going to be the subset of odd numbers here. Clear? I hope that we are clear with this question. Moving further, let's say that we are being given with a set which is J, which is PQR. The elements of set J are PQR. List all the subsets of J. So if we need to write the subsets of J, there are going to be multiple subsets of J, right? Which can be P, right? It can be Q, it can be R, it can be PQ, it can be QR, right? It can be PR as well, and it can be PQR as well. So these all are the subsets of J. But if we talk about the next part here, which asks you about the proper subsets. In proper subsets, the number of elements cannot be equal to the other set. So clearly, if we talk about the proper subset, these are going to be your proper subsets here. Okay. So if I just write the proper subsets here, so that is going to be P. We are going to have Q, R, PQ, PR, PQ, and this is going to be QR now. So these are going to be your subsets of proper subsets of J. Is that clear? Moving to the next important concept here, which is a universal set, right? So if we talk about a universal set, what it is, a set that includes all possible elements relevant to a particular problem. So in the universal set, if we talk about, it is going to include all the possible elements that are relevant to a particular problem, right? Whatever the relevant terms are there, they all are going to lie in the universal set. The symbol E represents the universal set. So if I talk about the symbol here, right, the symbol of representing the universal set is this. Okay? Clear? Moving to the next thing, a set that includes all the problems. So this is just a definition of universal set. So now moving forward, let's learn about the complement of a set, right? What is a complement of a set? So the complement of a set A includes all elements in the universal set that are not in set A, right? So if I talk about taking an example here, right, if I'll just say this thing that let's say that there is a set X, right, which is where we are saying this thing that X belongs to natural numbers, correct? Further, if I am saying this thing that I'm just taking one more set which is A, so that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Only these 4 numbers, or maybe 10 after this. So if we talk about the sets which are not going to be the values in the given set here, so they are going to be the complements here. So complement of a set includes all the elements in E that are not in set A. Whatever the elements that are not in set A, they are going to be the complements of it. Okay, so the complement of set A is denoted by the sum symbol A dash. This is how we are going to represent it. If now understanding, I want everybody to take a note of it as well. If the complement of E is equal to 5, it means the complement of the universal set is an empty set. If the complementary of the universal set is equal to 5, that means there isn't any complement to the universal set. Okay, so in that means that the complement of the universal set is an empty set. Okay, there isn't anything that is complement to the universal set. Conversely, if we talk about the complement of the empty set is equal to the universal set, the complement of an empty set is the universal set. Understood? Now, moving to the next thing here. So, this is just the points that are written here. Okay, now moving forward, let's understand about the set notation and the Venn diagrams. What are set notations? What are the Venn diagrams, right? So, Venn diagrams, if we talk about, are the primary method for illustrating sets diagrammatically. Whenever we need to represent sets using the diagrams, we use the Venn diagrams there, right? So, further, if we talk about one example of Venn diagram, let's say that we are being given with two sets, right? Which is, if I'll just see this thing, that let's say that there is a set A which is such that where we have the multiples of 5 from 1 to 25, which involves 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And if we talk about the set B here, which says that there is a set B which talks about the even numbers from 1 to 25, which is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, right? Now, after this, if we need to represent these given sets, we are going to represent them using the Venn diagram. Now, if we need to just say this thing, that what is a common between them, right? So, in that case, we are going to just write that what is A intersection B. Okay, what is common between them? So, we will observe this thing, that the common elements between the sets is 10 and 20. These are the common elements. So, if we need to write the common elements between A and B, it is going to be 10 and 20, right? And if we need to just find out, write all the multiples, if we need to write down the combination of set A and B here, right? So, in that case, we will be writing A union B. So, in the upcoming questions, we will be understanding about the A intersection B and A union B. Okay. Okay, further if I talk about that what is A union B, let's come on to this topic, which says the union of two sets A and B is a set of all the elements that are members of A, members of B or members of both. So, A union B is going to include all the members of A, all the members of B and the common members of A and B as well. Okay, so the symbol U represents the union. The union of two sets A and B is written as A union B. This is how we are going to represent it. Now, let's get back to the example that we were doing. So, if we need to write here that what is going to be A union B, right? That means it is going to include all the elements of A, all the elements of B and the elements that are common in A and B. Correct? So, if I talk about, if we need to write all the elements of A here, right? So, that is going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. If I talk about the elements of B here, right? I'm just writing it here because might not be readable. Let me just rewrite this thing. Yeah. So, I'm writing A union B here. So, I'm going to write all the elements of A here. They are nothing but 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. If I talk about the elements of B here, right, they are going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. So, we are not going to write 10 again as it is already written here. Then we'll have is 12, then we have is 14, 16, 18. Now, we are not going to write 20 as well, as we have already mentioned this. Correct. After that, we have is 22 and 24. Further, if I talk about the common elements of A and B, it is 10 and 20 that we can observe, but it is already in the list. So, this is how we are going to write what is A union B in the given example. Clear? Moving to the next thing, which is what is intersection of two sets, right? Or how we are going to represent this thing. So, the intersection of two sets A and B is the elements, is a set of all elements that are members of both A and B, right? So, the elements that are common to both A and B or that are a member of both A and B will be considered as A intersection B. Understood? Now, if we talk about the symbol, here this symbol represents the intersection. Okay, let me just make the symbol here. By this symbol, you are going to just make the symbol of intersection, right? Or which you can say just the reverse or the mirror image of U that we can see, right? The intersection of two sets A and B is written as A intersection B. Understood? Now, So if we'll just take an example here, right, we are being given with two sets, which is, let's say here the set A is 1, 2, 3, 4 and the set B here is 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I need to just write all the elements of A, all the elements of B and the common of A and B, so that is what we are going to get, A union B as 1, 2, 3, 4, all the elements of A, all the elements of B, if we talk about, we are left with 5 and 6 and the common of A and B is 3 and 4, which are already written. Now if we need to write what is A intersection B here, so the common thing between A and B is only 3 and 4. Clear? Yes? Talking about an example on this, right? So let's read the question, what the question here says. So here the question is saying, in a class of 35 students, 19 take Spanish, 18 take French and 3 take neither. Calculate how many take both French and Spanish, just Spanish and just French. So whenever such a question comes, the easiest approach I would say to solve any such question is the use of Venn diagram. Okay, so let's try to make it using the Venn diagram. So for that, firstly, we are going to make the universal set and then we are just going to make the, so it talks about only French and Spanish, right? So right, so this is how it is going to be. So you can change the size of the circle, that's nowhere a problem, right? Further, the question says that 19 take Spanish, 18 take French and 3 take neither, right? So clearly if I talk about, there are 3 who are not taking either French. So this is for French, this is for Spanish, right? So there are 3 who are not taking anything. Correct. So that means if we talk about the students that we are left with is 35 minus 3, that means there are a total of 32 students who take either Spanish, French or both of them. Correct. Now, if I talk about the students that we are being given within Spanish and in French that they are giving is 19 plus 18. Right. So 19 plus 18, if I talk about, that is going to be 37. But there are only 32 students left. So that means the 5 extra students that we are getting here, they are actually the ones who have taken both French and Spanish. Correct? So that means if I talk about the intersection of both of them is going to be 5. Now, if I talk about French, 18 take French. That means if we'll just observe this thing, that 5 have already taken French and Spanish both, that means we will be left with 13 more who will be taking only French. Now, if we talk about the ones who will be taking only Spanish, is going to be 19 minus 5, right, which is going to be 14. Yes. So if we'll just observe that out of the given list, there are going to be 3 students who are not taking either French or who are taking neither French nor Spanish. Talking about 13 who take only French, 5 who take both Spanish and French, and 14 who take only Spanish. Understood that how we are going to make this Venn diagram here? Yes. So here if I talk about the ones who take just Spanish, so if I talk about the answer to the first one, who take both French and Spanish are 5. The ones who take just Spanish are going to be 14. And the ones who take just French are 13. Understood? Moving to the next question here, which says, in a year group, just a second. Yeah. So in a year, group of 113 students, 60 liked hockey, 45 liked rugby and 18 liked neither. Calculate the number of students who liked both hockey and rugby and liked only hockey. So again, we are going to solve this using the Venn diagram. So in this question, we are going to use a different approach. Okay. I'll just tell you the approach that we are going to use. So we will be solving this question with 2 methods for your understanding. So here we are having the universal set here and then we are going to make for the circles for hockey and rugby, right? These are sets for hockey and rugby. Let me just label them. So this is for hockey, this is for rugby, right? So it is clearly mentioned that there are 18 who like neither, right? So clearly we are going to have 18 out of it, right, which are not liking either hockey or rugby. So after that, if I talk about the first approach, let me just use a different approach to solve it. Let's take this as x, this as y, and this as z. Okay. So now we know this thing that the sum of all the students, which is x plus y plus z, is equal to what? It is going to be 113 minus 18, which is the total number of students minus the students who didn't like any of the sport, right? So here if I talk about x plus y plus z is equal to 95 is what we have got here. Now further, we know this thing that 60 liked hockey. That means x plus y is equal to 60. Correct. So here if I talk about x plus y is equal to 60, so can we just find out the value of z? Let's take this as equation 1, this as equation 2. So if we'll just put this in equation 1, we are going to get as 95 minus 60. That means we have got the value of z is equal to 35. Clear? Further if I talk about, we also know one more thing that y plus z is equal to, we know this thing that y plus z is equal to the people who liked rugby, which are 45 in number. So that is equal to 45. So we know the value of z already, right? So y is equal to 45 minus 35, which is going to be equal to 10. Yes. Now further, if we need to find out the value of x, that is going to be equal to nothing but 50. Yes. So let me just solve it here. So x is equal to, so we can get it from equation 2, which is going to be 60 minus 10, which is equal to 50. So by that, we can just complete a Venn diagram that x is equal to 50, y is equal to 10, while z is equal to 35. So that is the first approach of solving this question. So you can write the students like both hockey and rugby are 10. While if I talk about who like only hockey, if we talk about there are 50 who like only hockey. Who like both, huh? Okay. So here that is clear with. Okay, now talking about the second approach, the way we solved the previous question, so we can solve this question exactly in the same way as well. So let's go for it again. So it's entirely going to be your choice that which method you want to use in your exams for solving a question. Okay. So let's say that this is for hockey, this is for rugby. We know this thing that 13 are going to be here, right? So that means we are left with not 13, 18. So 18 are the ones who like neither hockey nor rugby. Yes. So further, if I talk about 100, there are total of 113 students. So here if I talk about the ones that are left, students who like either hockey or rugby or both are equal to 95 is what we have got. Correct. Now if we are just going to find out the sum of both of them, right? So if I just talk about the sum of both of them, which is 60 plus 45, that means we are getting it as 105, but we need to distribute only 95 students, and here we are getting the sum as 105. That means the difference that we are getting is because of the students who like both hockey and rugby, which is nothing but 10. So that means we are going to get 10 here. Further, if I talk about there are total 60 who like hockey, so that means 10 are the ones out of which who like both of them. So that means we will be having 50 who like only hockey. And then we will be having 45 minus 10, which is 35 who like only rugby. Is that clear? So I hope that we are clear with the question now. Moving to the next question here, if I talk about, which says that we are being given with a set x is such that x is between 0 to 10, we need to write list the subset B of prime numbers and list the subset C of square numbers. So let's just write it here. So if I talk about the subset B, what it is going to be? It is going to be 2, 3, 5 and 7. Yes. And further, if I talk about the subset C, which is going to be the square numbers, so which are just 1, 4 and 9. So these are the square numbers that we can see between 0 and 10. Clear? Moving to the next question here, consider the set A and B and list the elements which is list the elements of A intersection B. So when it says A intersection B, we need to look for the elements which are in both A and B, right? So if I talk about the A intersection B here, So A intersection B is going to be, what we can see here is 6, 8 and 10 are common, right? No other element is common, so the intersection is going to be 6, 8, 10. Further, if we are asking about the A union B, right? A union B is going to be equal to, we are going to include all the elements, right? So 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 4 is going to be here, 5 is going to be here, and then we are going to have is 6, 8 and 10. Understood? So we are not going to repeat any of the element. Okay. Now moving to the next question here, copy and complete the following statements. So firstly, it is being asked that what is the set A here, right? So let's write the set A. So clearly, if I talk about the set A comprises of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the elements of set A. If I talk about the elements of set B, what are the elements of set B? Set B comprises of 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9. So these are the elements of set B, correct? Further, if we talk about, we need to find out the complement of set C, right? So set C comprises of 6 and 7. So if I talk about that, what is going to be the complement of set C, that means whatever the other numbers that we have here which are not a part of C are going to be the complement of set C, which are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. So these all are going to be the complements of C here. Moving, if we need to find out what is A intersection B is this particular region. So that is 4, 5. Further, if we need to find out what is A union B, so in A union B, we are going to include all the elements. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are going to include all the elements here. Okay. Further, if we need to find out the complement of A intersection B. So if I talk about A intersection B is 1, 5. So all the elements other than A intersection B are going to be the complements. So that means it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are just going to exclude the common elements, which is 4, 5. Understood? Yes. Moving to the next question here, which says, consider P as a given set and Q as a given set. Draw a Venn diagram to illustrate the above information. And after that, the B subpart here says, copy and complete the following statements. Okay, so we need to just answer these two questions. Let's jump on to the first question, which says, we need to make the Venn diagram to show this complete information. So let's just make the circles here, as there are only two sets. So let's just write, firstly let's look for the common elements. I always suggest you that write the common elements first. Okay, so here if I talk about the common elements that we can see here as 11, 13 and 17. These are the only common elements, so I'm just going to write the common elements first, which is 11, 13 and 17. So here we are going to have the other elements as 2, 3, 5 or 7. And then if we talk about the elements of Q that we are being left with here is 15 and 17. So that is how we are going to make the Venn diagram in order to illustrate the given information. Clear? Now, moving to the B part, copy and complete the following statements. We need to write what is P intersection Q. So clearly, if we have the Venn diagram, we can find out intersection, union, complement, anything is going to be the easiest thing for you. Right? So if we need to find out the intersection or the elements that are both in A and B, it is only 11, 13 and 17 here. So that is going to be 11, 13 and 17. So these are going to be the elements here. Understood? Now, moving to the next one, which says the P union Q, if we need to find out. So we are going to include all the elements here, which is going to be 2, 3, 5, 7. So 2, 3, 5, 7, all the elements of P we have written. Let me just write it as P and Q. So then we are going to write the common elements, which is 11. Okay, so here it is going to be 19. Just a second. This is not going to be 17. This is going to be 19 here. Okay. So here if I talk about, this is fine. Then we'll have is 11, 13, 17. 11, 13, 17, and then we have the elements of Q that are left, which are 15 and 19. Understood? I hope that we are clear with the question now. Okay, moving to one more question here, right? Let's read and understand what the question here says, and then we will be moving on to the previous year questions, as this is such an important topic that you get question from the Venn diagram topic almost in every paper, right? So it's important that we are understanding this topic thoroughly, because you will be having the question either in a core or your extended paper. So a class of 15 students, a class of 15 students was asked what pets they had. Each student had either a bird, a cat, or a fish, or a combination of them. So the students who have birds are 10, students who have the cat are 11, students who have a fish are 9. Calculate the value of x, y, and z here. Okay, so here we need to understand, we need to make the equations in order to solve the question here. Okay, so let's just start solving the question. How are we going to do it? So firstly, if I talk about, let me just write the different equation for birds first. Okay, so if I'll just talk about the region for birds here, this is the region for birds, right? I'm just removing it. It was just for your understanding, right? So if I talk about for birds, it is going to be birds is equal to 1 plus 2 plus x plus z, right? So clearly number of birds that we are being given in the question are 10. So that means 10 is equal to 3 plus x plus z. So we have got the first equation as x plus z is equal to 7. That is what we have got as a first equation. Further, let's make the second equation here as well, which goes for the cat, right? So if I talk about for cat, it is going to be 2 plus 3 plus x plus y. Correct. So that is going to be number of cats are 11. So 11 is equal to 5 plus x plus y. So that means we have got x plus y is equal to 6 here. That is the second equation that we have got. Yes. Further, if I talk about making the third equation here, which goes as for the fish, which goes as x plus y plus z is equal to x plus y plus z plus 2 is equal to the number of fish are 9, right? So that is x plus y plus z is equal to 7 that we have got as a third equation. So now we need to find out the value of x, y, z using the equation. So clearly if I talk about firstly that what is the value of z that we are getting, are we provided with any other information? And we also know this thing that the sum of all of these values, right? A class of 15 students was asked. So that means the sum of all these elements here is going to be equal to nothing but 15 here. Okay. Now, let's try to figure it out that how are we going to solve this particular value. Okay, so here we know this thing that x plus y, this is your equation 1, this is your equation 2, and this is your equation 3. I'm just writing all the equations on another slide first. So we have is x plus z is equal to 7. That's the first equation that we have. X plus y is equal to 6. And then we have is x plus y plus z is equal to 7. That is what we have. So we know this thing that x plus y is equal to 6. So clearly we are just going to, this is equation 1, this is your equation 2, and this is your equation 3. So substituting 2 in equation 3, we are going to get is 6 plus z is equal to 7. So we will be getting the value of z is equal to 1. Okay. Further, if we are just going to put z in equation, put z in equation 1, we are going to get is x is equal to 7 minus 1, which is equal to 6. So we have got x is equal to 6 here. Further, if I need to find out the value of y, this shouldn't be like this. Substituting the value of x in equation 2, we are going to get y is equal to 6 minus 6, which is equal to 0 here. So these are going to be your respective values of x, y, and z. So we are getting z is equal to 1, right? So I'm just writing. So value of x here is 6, right? If I talk about the value of z here, the answer is 1. And further, if I talk about the value of y here, that is coming out to be 0. So these are going to be your respective values of x, y, and z. Okay. Now, moving forward, let's have the next question here, which says, the sets given below represents the letters of the alphabet in each of three English cities, which is P, Q and R are the sets here. Draw a Venn diagram to illustrate this information. So, we need to make a Venn diagram in order to illustrate the given information here. So, let's go for it. Let's make the Venn diagram. Right. So, we are being given with three sets here, which is P, Q and R. So, let's make the respective circles here. Okay, so let's make the Venn diagram now. Let's write all the elements here firstly. So if I talk about the elements that we can see, firstly, let's just talk about the elements that are common in all three of them, right? So are there any elements that are common in all three of them? So let's check for C. No, C isn't common. If we'll check for A isn't common. M is common. No, M isn't common in all of them. If we talk about B isn't common. If I talk about R is common in all three of them. So can we observe this thing that R is common in all three of them? Right? So we are just going to write it at a place where A intersection P intersection Q intersection R will be there. So that is this region. So we are going to write R in this particular region. Okay. Further, if I talk about writing I isn't common in all three of them. Further, if I talk about D, it isn't common. D isn't common in all three of them. No, it is not. If we talk about G, it is not common. If we talk about E, it is not common. So that is, there is only one element that is common in all three of them. Okay, now let's just talk about the elements which are common in P and Q. So let's take this as P, this as Q and this as R. Okay, so if we talk about the elements which are common in P and Q both, so if we'll just have a look at P and Q here, so C isn't here, A isn't here, right? M is not common, B is common. So we are going to have B here, right, as it is common. So we have written this B element. Now further, if I talk about I is common. So we are going to write I as well. Okay, then we have is D is not common, G isn't common, G is also common, right? So we are going to write G as well. So I'm just writing G also. Okay, then E isn't common here. So these are the common elements of P and Q. Now we are going to write the common elements for Q and R. Okay, so let's write what are the common elements for Q and R. So let me just erase the ones that I have already marked. So if I talk about the common elements for Q and R, we can see this thing that B isn't common, R we have already mentioned, I isn't common, G isn't common, H is common, right? So H is again one more common element of Q and R. Further, if I talk about T isn't common, O isn't common, N isn't common, right? Further, let's talk about what are the common elements for P and R. So if we'll just have a look at the common elements between P and R, C isn't common, A is common, so we are going to have A here. Further, if I talk about M is also common, so we are going to mention M as well. B isn't common, R we have already mentioned, I isn't common, D is also common, so we are going to write D as well. And G isn't common, E isn't common. So these are the common elements that we have. Now we are just going to complete the Venn diagram with all the leftover elements here. Right. So further, if I just talk about the set, in the set P, what we are being left with, we haven't mentioned C here. A we are done with, M we are done with, B is done, R is done, I is done, D is also done, G isn't done, right? So we are going to write G, and E is also left. So we are going to write the elements here. Further, let's talk about that what all elements are left in the set Q, right? So B is done, R is done, G is done, I is done, H is done, right? T we are left with, O we are left with, and N we are left with. Okay. Let's talk about the elements of R. So D is done, U is not there. So we are going to write U, R is done, H is done, A is done, and M is done. So this is how we are going to make the Venn diagram of the given elements. So yes, you need to be very careful when we are making the Venn diagram that you are not making any mistake. especially when you have such a confused set of information or the elements in the set. Okay. Now, moving forward, let's just have some previous year questions and let's try to understand that what type of questions comes in your exams so that you're all prepared for your upcoming exams. So, let's have a question from the paper of October-November 23 from the variant 1-2, right? So, we are being given with a universal set here which represents the students in a class, okay? Then we have C, which represents the students who play cricket. F represents the students who play football. So there are total 36 students in a class. 15 play cricket, 20 play 20 play football. We need to complete the Venn diagram and we need to find out that what is the count for the C union F. Okay. So firstly, let's just complete this Venn diagram. So it is given to us that there are 15 students who play cricket. And we are already given with 11. That means there are 4 students who are left here. That means there are 4 students who play both cricket and football. Right. And after that, we know this thing that there are 20 students who play football. Out of which there are 4 who play both football and cricket. So that means there are 16 students who play only and only football. So this is how we have completed the Venn diagram. Just a suggestion that whenever you are completing it, always and always cross check once that the sum of the all elements here should be equal to the total count that you were being provided with. So here if I talk about 16 plus 4 is 20, 20 plus 11 is 31, 31 plus 5 is going to be 36, which is the total count given to you. Clear? Moving, if we need to find out that what is the count for C union F, right? So if I talk about the count for C union F, that is going to be 11 plus 4 plus 16, right? So which is going to be nothing but 31. Understood? Clear? Moving to one more question from the paper of October-November 23 from the variant 2-1. Again a question on Venn diagram. The Venn diagram shows information about the number of elements in set A, B and E. The count for the universal set is equal to 52. We need to find out the count for A intersection B. So if we know this thing that the complement of A union B is equal to 15. Yes. So if we need to find out that what is going to be the count for A union B. A union B will be the total number of elements in the set, which is 52 minus its complement, which is 15. Right. So if we talk about what are we going to get as the answer here, this is going to be equal to nothing but 37. Yes. So clearly we know this thing that 5x plus x plus 5 plus 12 minus x is equal to 37, or you can also do it like you can add up all these elements, which includes 15, 5x, x plus 5 and 12 minus x and equate it to 52. Understood? So here if I talk about, we know this thing based on the given information that 5x plus x plus 5 plus 12 minus x is equal to what? It is equal to 37. So let's just calculate it. What are we going to get here? So we are getting it as 5x plus 17 is equal to 37. So we have got 5x is equal to 20. We are getting x is equal to 4 here. That is what we have got. So here if I talk about, we need to find out that what is going to be the A intersection B. So A intersection B is equal to x plus 5, which is going to be 4 plus 5, that is equal to 9 as the answer. Understood? Moving to the next question, which is again a question from the paper of October-November 23 from the variant 2-3. Okay, so let's read and understand the question. What the question here says: on the Venn diagram, shade the region P union the complement of Q. Okay, so firstly, let's do one thing. Let's mark that what is the region for the complement of Q. Okay, so let's go for it. The region for the complement of Q is going to be the region which does not include Q. So this is going to be the complement of Q. That's right. Yes, further we need to have it P union complement of Q. That means we are going to include the region of P. Yes, and what is the region that we are left with here? Right, which is a region of P, but we haven't marked it yet. So it is this particular region. So here if I talk about the shaded region is going to be P union Q complement or the complement of Q. Understood? Further, if we talk about in the B sub part of the question, we are being provided with that the sum of all the elements here is 20. Also, we are being given with that the complement of A union B, right? So that is equal to 1. So that means we are going to have 1 here. The number of components, the number of elements in the set A are equal to 12. The number of elements in the set B are equal to 10. And we need to complete the Venn diagram here. So we know this thing that the number of elements in A union B, right? If I talk about, we know this thing that the number of elements in A union B are going to be equal to the total elements minus the number of elements in the complement, that is equal to 19. Again, you can do it with any of the method you wish to. You can take it as XYZ, or you can just do the sum of 12 and 10, which is coming out to be 22. And here it need to be only 19. So that means we are over 3. Correct? So we are going to have 3 here. So how many are left from A now? 9 are left. And how many are left from B? Only 7 are left. So that is how you are going to complete the Venn diagram here. Understood? Moving, so this is the same question here. Okay, let's have one more question for you, which says there are 110 people in a group. G is the people who own gold jewelry. S represents the people who own silver jewelry. 18 people are the ones who hold both gold and silver jewelry. 16 people own only the 16 people own gold jewelry. So this was just a second. I guess there is a typing mistake here. It was actually 46. So this need to be 46 people own gold jewelry. And then we have the next part which says 11 people own gold jewelry and no silver jewelry. No gold jewelry and no silver jewelry. So we need to complete the Venn diagram here, right? So let me just make the Venn diagram firstly. Or let me just complete it here itself. So if we talk about the Venn diagram, what we can observe that there are 11 people who own no gold jewelry, no silver jewelry. So that means clearly we are going to have 11 people here. Yes. Further, if I talk about 18 people own both gold and silver jewelry. So there are 18 people who own both gold and silver jewelry. Further, 46 people own gold jewelry. So that means if we talk about the people who own gold jewelry, so if we'll just find out that how many people own only the gold jewelry, so that is going to be equal to 46 minus 18, right? So if we talk about, this is going to be 28. So that means there are 28 people who own only the gold jewelry. Now we can easily find out that how many people own only the silver jewelry, because we know this thing that sum of all the elements of the Venn diagram is equal to 110, right? So that is going to be 11 plus 28 plus 18 plus the number of people who own only the silver jewelry, right? So that is equal to 110. So let's use the calculator in order to get this value. What is the answer that we are going to get here? So this is going to be 11 plus 28 plus 18 minus 110. So that means there are going to be 53 people who own only silver jewelry. Is that clear? I hope that we have understood this particular question. Yes. So now, firstly, we are done with the first part, that complete the Venn diagram. Write down the number of elements for G intersection S. The elements for G intersection S, if I talk about, they are 18. Further, if we talk about the next part, one of the 110 people is chosen at random. Write the probability. Let me just read the question from here. One of the 110 people is chosen at random. Write down the probability that this person owns gold jewelry but not silver jewelry. So that means a person owns only the gold jewelry. So if we talk about the probability is 28 here out of the total, which is 28 over 110. So if you want to reduce it further, you can write it to the simplest form, right? So which is going to be nothing but 14 over 55. Clear? Moving to the next question, which is a question from the paper of February-March 24 from the variant 2-2. Right here, the question says that there is an universal set which is E, which is represented by E, such that X lies between 1 and 10, both are included. P represents where X is an even number and Q represents where X is a multiple of 5, and we need to complete the Venn diagram. So firstly, let's just write all the elements of the set P. All the elements of set P are going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. So we are going to include 10 because it is included in the given set. If I talk about the elements of Q, that are going to be only 5 and 10. So if I talk about the common between them is only 10. So in the set P, we are going to have 2, 4, 6 and 8, while here we are going to have only 5. Clear? Moving to the next question here, right, which says, which is from the paper of February, March 24 from the variant 3-2. Let's read and understand what the question here says. So here we are being provided with E shows the children in a school, F set gives you the children who like fruit, V gives you the children who like vegetables. 24 children like vegetable but do not like fruit, right? So there are 24 children who like only and only vegetables. That means we are going to have 24 here. 8 children do not like fruit and do not like vegetable. That means there are 8 children who do not like any of the things here. Further, if I talk about, it says that the number of elements in F intersection V are equal to 9. So that means we are going to have 9 students or 9 children here. And we are also being provided with that the count for the students, number of elements who like, number of children who like only fruit are actually 3 times the students who like vegetables. So if we talk about the number of students who like fruits are equal to 3 times the ones who like vegetables. So if we talk about the total students who like vegetable are actually 9 plus 24. So that means there are a total of 99 children who like fruits, but out of these 99, there are 9 who like both already. So that means we are left with 90 children who like only fruits, because as a total we can observe that there are 99 who like fruits, right? Out of it, some of them like vegetables as well, which are 9 in number. Okay. So on that note, we have completed the Venn diagram. Further, it's asked you about that, work out the number of elements in F union V, right? If we talk about the number of students who like fruits or vegetables, if we see, then in that case, that is going to be the count for F union V, if we talk about, we are just going to have it as 90 plus 9 plus 24, right? So let's just add up all of them. We are going to get the count as 123 here. Is that clear? Moving forward to the next question, which is from the paper of May-June 24 from the variant 1-2. The question here says that x is a natural number less than 12. Set S has the elements 1, 4, 7 and 10, while set T has the elements 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. We need to complete the Venn diagram here. So firstly, let's just look for the elements that are common in both of them. So we can observe this thing, that 1 is common, 7 is common, right? So we are going to write 1 and 7 here. So 4 is left in the set S here because 10 is already mentioned. So here in the set T, we are going to have is 3, 5, 9 and 11. So 2 and 8 are not a part of the set, are neither the part of set S nor of T. So we are just going to write it in the place where we write the complement. Clear? Okay. Moving to the next question here, which is from the paper of May-June 24 from the variant 1-3, it says that there is a set which has the elements as 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 12, 16, 64. And if we talk about the set C, it has the cube number. So firstly, let's find out that what all are the cube numbers here. So in the cube numbers, if we are just going to write, the cube numbers here are going to be 1, then we have is 8, then we have is 64. These are the cube numbers, right? Further, if I talk about the square numbers here, what are the square numbers? 1 is a square number, 4 is a square number, then 9 is a square number, 16 is a square number and 64 is also a square number. Now we need to complete the Venn diagram here. So firstly, if I talk about the common elements here, 64 is a common element. So we are just going to write the common element. So what are the cube numbers that we are left with? Are 1 and 8, and okay, 1 is also a cube and a square number. So we are just going to have 1 as well here. So we are left with only 8. And further, if we talk in the square numbers, we are left with 4, 9 and 16. Now talking about what is going to be the complement of C union S, right? So here if I talk about what all elements we have included, we have written 1, we have written 4, 5 is left. So we are going to write 5 here, right? 8 is done, 9 is done, 12 is left. So we are going to write 12 here, right? Then 16 is done, 64 is done, right? And if we need to tell the number of elements in C union S, if we talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are going to be 6 elements there in the union of it. Clear? Talking about the next question, which is from the paper of May June 24 from the variant 1-3. So on this Venn diagram, we need to shade the region for the A intersection B, right? So we need to just shade the region for A intersection B. So this is the region which is the intersection of A and B. Clear? Moving to the next question here, which is from the paper of May June 24 from the variant 2-1. So what we can observe that you will be finding the question on Venn diagram in almost every paper, right? So let's just solve some more questions on this, the previous year questions. So in the Venn diagram, shade the region M, the complement of M union the complement of N. So here if I talk about, firstly, if we'll just understand this thing that what is a region that is a complement of M, right? Let me just shade the region which is a complement of M. This is a region that is a complement of M, right? Let me just shade the region which is the complement of N now, right? So if I talk about the complement of N, this whole is a complement of N. So here we need to shade the region which is a union of both of them. That means which is a part of either of them. So clearly if I talk about, we are just going to shade the entire region here except for the region which is the intersection of M and N. We are going to shade the entire region here. The one that you can see shaded here is going to be the answer. Let it be from white or from the yellow color. Now, further if I talk about the next one which says here that we need to find out the what is going to be the number of elements in B intersection A complement union C. So we are just going to start with the innermost thing here, right, which is A complement of A union C. So firstly, let's just mark that what is going to be. Let me just see if it is on another slide. Yeah. So let me just mark it here. So here if I talk about the complement of A, firstly if I talk about the complement of A, what is going to be the region? This is the region which we have is in A complement, right? In the complement of A. This is whole the region that will come in the complement of A, right? Now let's talk about that what is the region that is included in C, right? What is the region that is included in C? As we need to find out, we need to take the union here which is going to include the entire shaded region. So if I talk about the region of C, it includes this particular part, right? Clear? Further, now we need to find out that whatever the shaded region here is and what is actually the intersection of B and the shaded region that we can see here, right? So if I just talk about that what is the intersection of the shaded region and B here that we can see here, let me just shade it with a different color, which we can see here as in this particular region is actually the intersection of the part that is shaded and of B. Yes. So if we'll just have a look at the numbers that were written here. So it was initially the numbers that were written here were 10, 4 and 3. So that is what we are going to get as the elements here. So here we had 10, 4 and 3. So let me just shade the required region here. So this is going to be your required region. Okay. So here, if we'll just talk about 10, 4 and 3 are the elements which are going to give you the total count of the elements as 17. Is that clear? I hope that we have understood this question. Now, moving to the next question, if we'll just have a look at. So here if we'll just see. So it says W represents the students who walk to school, F represents the students who wear glasses. There are 20 students in a class and 8 walk to school. 3 wear glasses and walk to school. That means if we talk about the intersection, that is going to be 3 here, right? Further, if we talk about there are total who 8 walk to school and 2 do not wear glasses and do not walk to school. That means we are going to have 2 outside right? So further, if we talk about, we need to complete the Venn diagram. So 8 walk to school. So clearly, if there are 3 who wear glasses and they walk to school, and there are total 8 who walk, so that means there are going to be 5 who only walk but do not wear the glasses, right? Further, if I talk about the number that we are being left with here, so that means we are going to have a total of 10 students who wear the glasses and who only wear the glasses and but do not walk to school. As we know this thing, that the sum of all elements here need to be equal to 20. So this was a question from the paper of May June 24 from the variant 2-2. Moving forward to one more question on this, which is from the paper of May June 2024 from the variant 2-3. Let's read and understand the question. The question here says, shade the region A union complement of B. So firstly, let's just find out that what is the region of A. So if I talk about the region for A is this region. This is the region for A. Further, if I talk about the region for the complement of B, right, the region that is complement of B is going to be, that means we are not going to include the region of B. This is going to be the region for the complement of B. So that means this is the required shaded region, as we need to do the union of it. We are going to include all the shaded region here. Clear? Understood? Moving to the next question here, which says, so that is a good question. Use set notation to describe the shaded region. So now this time, so far we were provided with the notations that this is how we need to write it. But here we need to write the set notation. That how are we going to represent the shaded region here. So firstly, if I'll just talk about what we can observe here is that in the shaded region, P and Q are not included. Right, whatever the intersection of P and Q that we can see is not included here. Clearly we can observe this thing. So that means this thing that the union of P and Q is going to play a role here. Further, if I talk about the region that is shaded here falls outside of the union of P or outside of the union of P and Q, that means it is going to be in the complement of it. Yes. Further, if I talk about, if I'll be just marking the complement of P union Q, right? Further, if I'll just be marking the complement of P union Q, we are going to get this whole region as the complement of P union Q, but we need only the part that is of R, that is of the set R. So that means we are going to have the intersection with R here in order to get the shaded region. So if we are just going to have the intersection of R with the complement of P union Q, we are going to get the required region. So, and this is how we are going to write the set notation of it. Is that clear? Now, moving to the next question here. So, this was just the same question that we had. Moving forward to the next question here, the Venn diagram shows information about the number of workers in a hotel who travel to work by bus or by train. So, this is a question from the paper of May June 24 from the variant 3-1. Let's try to figure out what we needed to find out in this question. So here the question says work out the number of workers in a hotel. So we need to find out the total number of workers. So we are just going to add up all the quantities here. So this is going to be 31 plus 9 plus 85 plus 107. Let's use the calculator in order to get this value. What are we getting here? 31 plus 9 plus 85 plus 107. So we are getting it as 232. So these are the number of people who number of workers who work in a hotel. That is what it was given. Yeah. Further, we need to find out the number of elements in B union T. So, if I talk about B union T is going to give you these three numbers, which is 31 plus 9 plus 85. So, that is going to be 31 plus 9 plus 85. So, that is going to be equal to 125. Okay. Further, was it union or intersection? That was union. Okay. Further, if I talk about explain in words that the number 85 in the Venn diagram represents. So, in the Venn diagram, if we talk about the number 85, that represents the people who travel to work only by train. So, here number of people who travels only by train. Okay, talking about the next subpart, one of the workers is chosen at random. Find the probability that this worker travels to the work by bus and train. So that means we are going to talk about the intersection part here. So that is going to be 9 over the total number of workers, which are 232 here. So that is how you are going to get the probability that the worker travels to work by bus and train, by both of them. Okay. So I hope that you have understood all the entire concept of set notations and Venn diagram. So that is all that we had to do for this session. I'll be meeting you in the next session where we will be discussing one more topic which is important for your upcoming exams. Till then, stay connected.